Well, good evening, race fans, and welcome to the Crown E-League Finals, round 3, the penultimate round of our little championship we've got going on here. And my name is Webbo. I'm here to take you through this third round of the finals, round 9 overall for everybody, where you will see the likes of NLR Esports, who head the league on 72 points, LFR on 59 points, Talent Factory Esports on 56, IRT on 47, and QRT at the foot of the field so far on 36. Actually, scratch that. Apologies for all of those standings. I think that was after the first round, so we don't have the latest standings for you. We will put them in the description if at all possible. Racing tonight of note is that Pyro, this is the last ever IRT race for Pyro, so he'll be hoping for a very strong showing, of course. And Pyro joins us in the chat, and hi to Pyro indeed, and hi to Edits and to Maurice. Anyone else tuning in, let us know who you're here to enjoy. I hope you are keyed in and ready for the next round in our finals of the Crown E race. Of course, this, as I mentioned, this is round 9 overall, because the first 4 rounds were qualification in a split group, where the top 2 and the third fastest across both groups were allowed to proceed to the finals here. So the best of the very best. Luke Lira, of course, here for LFR, who says Vamos. Latin Formula Racing, of course, shouting Vamos for their drivers. We are in the fabulous roller coaster of Portimao tonight, and I can't wait to get going, see what some good esports racing is going to reveal to us here in this beautiful track. It looks like we're going to have dry weather, at least for this session, and anybody who is in the know, I'd love it if you'd let me know, of course, what the weather is going to be like out there. Pyro looks to be the first guy out of the pits as well, which is fabulous. Yeah, he's obviously wanting to get himself some screen time. He knows how the game's played. He knows how my streams work. He knows that the first flying lap gets given to the guy first out of the pits. So he's warming the tyres. He's around into turn 5 right now, and just getting himself organised, getting wound up and ready to go for this 9th race. We did reset all the points in the championship when the finals began, so it was a hard reset for everybody. All that the first 4 rounds did was qualify you for the last 4 rounds, as you would expect with a tournament setup. Edits is here for IRT, which is good to hear. How many NLR boys have we got with us tonight in the chat? I haven't heard from anybody yet, as Pyro finishes off his turn 14. Always reminds me of the Parabolica here. And turn 15, little like the Zandvoort final corner. And we go screaming down at the Shadow Cast start-finish straight, which is anything but straight in topography. Throws the car in, lacking a little bit of grip in that first corner, but he's on medium tyres, so that would have to be expected. So Pyro working the wheel, waiting for the car to grip in through turn 4. It's very tricky through there on low grip conditions. Down into the turn 5 hairpin. Downhill braking, but slightly banked, so seems to sort of make up for itself in braking areas. Lots of fast right-handers on this track, and we climb the hill to the crested turn 11 through 12, and now this is 11, and 12 is an approach point for the hard braking of turn 13, the second, well, the last hairpin on the track. And then we go through turn 14, Parabolica-like corner. I don't believe there are any well-known names for the corners here, as we then go through the flat-out in most conditions turn 15, especially if you can avoid that inside curb. Pyro hugs the line, and crosses the line for the first time lap, and it's a 1:16.673 on medium tyres. Who else is out there? Jabraka here for the QRT team. NLR says hello. We've got one fan of NLR, the boss of NLR, Harley, I see, and Griff is here for IRT. So IRT winning the shout outs at the moment in the live chat. So Jabraka in to finish up the second sector now, staying valid. We'll see lots of cars invalidate across the previous corner. That's 13 with its hairpin blind exit. Drivers spend a crazy amount of time staring at the sky in this track, given the gradients. Experienced Marlon, last week's dominant driver, goes fastest on soft tyres, 16.2, and Jabraka 1/10 back, a 16.3. Sparks is up there on medium tyres on a 16.6, which is pretty impressive considering the soft tyre time so far. Looks like, what have we got? Debo in third place, 16.3 as well. Pedro representing LFR in these gorgeous Gulf colour scheme, as Helm goes 1:15.954, top of the order, the first in the 1:15s. Do we have nobody else from NLR or QRT joining us? Any of the Sparks fan club? Yeah, absolutely. LFR then with Pedro hoping to catch a tow, but not succeeding down here. P7, you can cooperate to get a tow from each other in this championship, and I would expect to see the fastest times will be the ones that manage to coordinate that. Here is Erpek. He dominated round 5, or the first of the final rounds, and a drive that will live long in the memory, winning by over 13 seconds after a safety car in the wet. Erpek, how will he fare in these dry conditions here in Portugal? And over that crest, very smooth. Obviously got the medium tyres working well for Erpek on this first lap. Sometimes you'll see the drivers try a second lap on the mediums. Mediums are a good way to go. They can run a good 20 laps or more, and very flexible tyre for potential safety car. Although the wide runoff areas, this is after all a track day equipped circuit here in the Algarve, so there's lots of wide runoffs. Erpek 16.283. The wide runoffs discouraging safety cars to a certain degree. Erpek on medium tyres a 16.2. Better's Sparks medium tyre on a 16.6. So I think the driver's got plenty of pace yet to find. We haven't watched one of the Talent Factory guys driving in anger, and we just caught Davey as he goes P2 on a 16.2. So Helm, Davey, Marlon, Erpek, Nicholas, Jabraka, Debo, Damiano, Pedro and Sparks. I do apologise that it's a little bit confusing, the icon colours between NLR and Talent Factory, but when you get on board with them, they are very, very different liveries. And that's all I will say about that. So no QRT fans in the race chat so far. Wow. I'm most surprised. Russell then. Not yet set a time, but he's let everybody else head out and sweep the track for him. Staying valid so far. Yellow flag ahead, just a driver getting out of his way. And kind of ignore yellow flags in qualifying. This is the corner you might see invalidations happen frequently, but Russell, no such trouble, keeping this one relatively safe for the first time lap. Nice traction out of turn 14. Full speed then towards the line goes Russell. What will this be? It's a 16.0, right up to the front row position Russell on a 16.0 on the soft tyres. Similarly, Marty then down there in the foot of the standings at the moment for IRT, absolutely threading the needle as he goes on the way out of the corner. You can see just how close he came on the way out of turn 5 and 6 to the edge of the track, just losing the car's ideal line there. Dragging the car through the apex. Nice, good grip. Looks like the mediums have come up to temperature for him. Not a huge difference we're seeing between softs and mediums so far. Of course, everyone is on a fresh set of softs right now, but many of those times were set on medium tyres. Oh, the car just getting away from Marty just at the end of his lap there. Unfortunately, that'll be a pit stop or a charge and go again. But of course, he's probably spent most of his ERS on this current lap. What about Pure Azige? Coming towards the end of his lap now to set his first time. We've got Halm out there on an out lap. We'll join him momentarily. Let's just see. No, we won't see Pure Azige go for it. He's getting out of another driver's way. I wonder if he's been given a command from an engineer. Anybody Jeffing out there on the live stream? Give us a Jeff radio check for us. Give us that old Drive to Survive feel. Radio check, radio check. Is Jeff receiving us? Halm in first place at the moment, and DRS open on the short stretch down to turn 5. The Rolex hairpin for obvious reasons when we get onto trackside camera, but Halm doing a good job so far. He's 1/10 slower than he's been before. Let's have a check-in with Sparks. Let's see what his first sector... Oh, that's a slow first sector. He's slowing. So, perhaps not this time out for Sparks. Halm, one more corner to go before we get the Sector 2 time. Oh, very close. And he's gained time through Sector 2. Does that mean he saved some tyres for the end of this sector? The end of this lap, I should say. Someone say something in our live chat, otherwise I'm going to think that we've frozen. Halm going through the final corner then, and he's going screaming into the pit, so didn't think that one was going to happen. Ishiak has gone up into P3. Sparks currently P4. What about Davey? He is starting his lap. Marlon is, about halfway round the lap so far. Big correction though on the way out of turn 8. So unless he had a stellar first sector, I think the second sector won't do it. Wow, very, very close. He's still positive on his delta versus himself, not the overall pole, I think. Gets the car pretty close to the apex through turn 14. Not essential through there, just as it isn't on the Parabolica. Erpic with a new pole, 15.6 is a big time, and Marlon P7, 16.1 is the next one out there. What about Davey then? He was high up on the first runs in the neon green Talent Factory Esports livery. And looked for a moment like he was headed to the pits, but Davey straight up to P3, and it's a very green front 7 so far on the icon list on the tower. And like I say, that's TFR Esport, that's TFR Talent Factory and NLR at the same time. What is Sparks doing? He's coming to the pits. He didn't fancy a second run on those mediums. Damiano, similarly, I think he's on a slow-in lap, so I think this is the lull now until we get everybody come out for their final laps all at once, and then everybody complain about traffic. Almost certainly. Four and a half minutes left to go before the checkered flag. Looks like everybody pretty much on their way into the pits. Got a couple of outlaps, Sparks, Yagizan and Sieb. Let's see where they are on track. Yagizan about here. Let's check out him and Sparks. So looks like it's going to be Seeb first of all on the next attack laps. So Erpek 15.6 is receiving a little bit of love in the Discord, especially from Mr. BT out there, who is our host tonight, or chief inviter anyway. Seeb then from P14 on the grid so far, 16.4 his best time. Everybody giving up on the medium strategy to start with here for this run. Whoa, wow, very close for Seeb to the limit, and he's a 1/10 faster than he's been before so far. We'll stay with him until Sparks or Yagazan begin their laps, which is coming up pretty quickly. There we go, Sparks now on a lap. So let's catch in with him as long as he stays positive. Ignore that delta. Into turn 3. Remember, turn 4, blind exit. Can he hold this one? No, unfortunately not. Just too much on the way out of turn 4. So blind exit makes it very difficult, and he ran too wide for too long with his foot too far down on the throttle. Yagazan 1.5 tenths faster, and currently we have a field spread of 1.2 seconds across the entire field, and the fast times have yet to come in. Great to see Lesty join us from Boston, Massachusetts, home of the New England Patriots, of course, and the Celtics. So Yagazan has got a little bit of a distraction ahead, but he's positive so far. Erpek is back out for another outlap at the moment. Sparks is putting all the pressure on himself for a final run if he's even got time. He did invalidate quite early on his lap, so maybe it's worth pushing for another one on this run. Yagazan then to the line, and it's a new P2, a 15.859 out there. And I think Davey is on a run as well. Sparks, we know, invalidated. Kart Racer, unusually down there outside of the top 10, but he's 4 tenths faster, which would be plenty to get him inside that. He's now 1 tenth faster, sorry, through sector 1. Big snap on the way out. Boston, the first city I went to in the US, so that's why I know a little bit about it. To go to the food market, Lesty, while you're there, it's amazing. So Kart Racer in nicely to the apex, well on the exit as well, nearly a tenth faster, but with some work to do yet to get himself in his customary position near the front of the grid. Feeling is here for NLR, good to hear. I still haven't heard anything from a QRT driver or fan or teammate or Jeff. So let's have it. 3 tenths, it was Kart Racer's final improvement there. And let's go and join Erpek, who, is he slow? He is slowing. I think he's rubbish this lap. I think it's a scrub one. He's not going to go any quicker. Let's see about Russell. I'll just check in with Davey as well, who is a tiny amount quicker, but enough to get him on the front row already. So what about Russell then, as he goes towards the next timing beam? His first timing in check, and it's 400ths faster. It's not a lot. It's not a lot at all. What about Davey then? He's approaching sector 2. Has he gained anything through here? Always hold your breath through there. It's now a tenth of a second. This is good enough to get him up onto the front row for Davey. 1/10 of a second could get the guy on 6th place up to second. Yagazan will not feature any further. Sparks, I think, is on a lap, but let's watch with Davey as he goes towards the line. Can he get himself and Talent Factory up onto the front row? Davey then, a step up to P4 in the end is as good as he can get it. Russell is a 1/4 of a second quicker than he's been before, again putting him in range of that front row. I'll check up with Sparks as well. No, Sparks is not going to do it. So Russell then, 1/4 of a second he's held through sector 2. What'll it be as he crosses the line? It's only 1/10. That third sector is not proving useful for anybody to make an improvement. Russell up to P6. Erpik out there all on his own on a 15.6. Nobody coming near him at the moment. Helm finishing off the lap though. He had pace earlier on. Can he get his team represented nearer the top of the grid? Currently P5, a 15.954, and it is a 15.907. Stays fifth, no improvement. Pyro in his last race for IRT, I don't think is going to improve, and the checkered flags are coming out for everybody. I wonder if Kev, no, he's not going to set a better time than a 16.7. 1.1 seconds separating how many? 20 drivers of these prestigious esports team, and they really want it here, don't they? They really want it badly. I think that is everybody finished their laps, and tremendous session. But Erpik picking up where he left off in race 5 2 races ago. And so, am I right? Race 6? I think race 6 is what I'm meaning. Yeah, 2 races ago in race 6. Erpik dominant at this stage through qualifying. Has anybody given up too much of their setup for qualifying versus the race? Time will tell, but NLR on top from Talent Factory, and I say a neon green string of cars in the grid order. I'll give you a team breakdown on the formation lap. If you're watching with us live, exit the live chat for us, subscribe to the channel and like the video, please. And if your team are taking part, share the race on socials right now. Tell them to get here before the lights go out. It's Erpik on pole, then Yagizan and Sparks, Davey, Helm, Russell, Pyro, Ishak, Pedro, Kart Racer, Jabraka and Marlon, Germany 10, 11, 12. Then the Dutchies, Debo and Damiano, Nicholas, Purazij, Sieb, Marty and Pedro. Then Kev at the foot of the field. Not even 1.1 seconds away, and he's at the back of the field in 20th position. Just incredible field spread from these brilliant drivers. Me says, good luck boys for TF, I think, as does Larsimic. And he says he's congratulating Erpik, which is good to see. We're looking clear and sunny for this round, at least for race start. I haven't heard a weather forecast from our drivers yet. Great that Leslie has made a transatlantic flight and is still here to tune in. What a beautiful track it is for this final, penultimate race in the championship. Next week we will go to Brazil, home of many a season finale on track and digital. So, and a track where the drivers will have no end of practice, no excuses when you go to Sao Paulo. Chris says, Vamos LFR, another LFR team fan or team driver. Good to see. Give me an icon for your country that you're joining us from, or you associate best with. I'd love to see some flags filling up the live chat. So NLR will start 1st, 3rd, 6th and 10th with Erpik, Sparks, Russell, Kart Racer and that's it, of course. Yagizan take Talent Factory's top position, 2nd and 4th, followed by Ishak in 8th and Damiano in 14th. We have Helm for LFR in 5th and his teammates Pedro in 9th, Nicholas in 15th and Pedro. We've got a Pedro and a Pedro, or should I say Luxi and Pedro. I'll say Pedro. And then QRT in 11th, 12th, 16th and 20th. Pyro leads his team for his last appearance for IRT in 7th place. Teammates Debo, Seb and Marty in 13th, 17th and 18th. Lesty from the States, Phelan from Ireland, and Russell celebrates that one with a spin off the track and a DSQ from the formation lap only. He will of course join us from that 6th place, but he'll be in a difficult place with his tyre warm-up. Top 10 all on softs. We saw it was just too competitive to play around with that. Then everybody else on mediums, apart from Nicholas, who will be one to watch from 15th place. I'm on my own in the commentary, so if you see something major going on in the background, or you've noticed something from your favourite driver, do let me know in the live chat. I'm trying to keep an eye on that as well, and that would be very useful indeed. A very quick formation lap here from Erpik. I'm going to take tyres off so we can see more of the screen for the race start. But we are just assembling everybody, getting ourselves together and ready for this race. 33 laps of the Portimao circuit in Portugal for this penultimate round of the Crown E League. And we are very grateful to have everybody with us. Waiting for the start lights. Remember, Erpik on the outside, Jagazan on the inside, but Erpik has got Sparks behind him, his teammate. Lights are on. And it's lights out and go, go, go. The car's looking a little slow from this angle, but it looks like Erpik away well. Some cars off in the background, particularly an NFR car, but the top 4 appear to be as they were. Maybe the top 5 even. No one making any major moves there in the big points paying positions. Helm is on the outside in a difficult position through turn 4, but he backs out sensibly and lets the car in front go. So it is NLR 1, 3 and 6 and 7 with Russell making it up several places, and Kart Racer. What a start for the LFR boys, right up there in the mix. Then Helm in 5th and Talent Factory 2nd and 4th at this early stage, and we start the slipstream battles already, and they go through this middle sector of the racetrack. Nobody having too dramatic a race start, everybody being fairly organised. These are experienced racers who know that the race is never won on the first lap. Luke Lira is speechless, it looks like, after that start. Quite how Kart Racer and Russell got as far up as they did, I'm not entirely sure. But after the first lap, 4 places up for Kart Racer. Incredible stuff. Same for Kev as Jabraka tumbles down the order as we speak. And we start the second lap here. Erpik with the automatic fastest lap, of course, and we'll watch the cars come down the main straight line astern. I'm looking for anyone looking for an opportunity. Marlon P11 on the medium tyres, trying to move forward. Remember, we're looking for Nicholas and Pedro. Particularly Nicholas, I thought, would have a much better start than he did, but sadly no joy for the LFR driver on soft tyres at the back of the grid, and that's an awful position strategically. He's going to have to queue behind cars with much worse tyres over this early stage of the race and this early stint. Lesty saw some pushing and shoving. I was focusing on the front 4 who quite typically got away very cleanly and behaved themselves. So it looks like Davey closing on the back of Sparks. Everybody just needing to bring those soft tyres in gently, otherwise they won't last the 13 or 14 laps we usually see around here. Soft tyres in the front 9. Debo, your highest medium tyre runner, and the gaps are really close up to the gap between 17th and 18th. Very close racing. We should see plenty of slipstreaming at the restarts, if we have restarts after this. But then when the DRS gets enabled, as it has been now, we should start to see some action. Erpik has gapped Jagazan, leaving him vulnerable to Sparks. If Sparks can stay or gain slightly on the back of Jagazan's car. No penalties yet either. just underlining the good start that everyone's had. Marty is in the pits, pitting already off medium tyres, so definitely a plan B, C or D in operation for him. Davies right behind Sparks still, and Yagazan yet to catch Erpic enough. I wonder how much Erpic is spending, and just to head off any requests I might get, I'm not going to show telemetry on the drivers. It gives an unfair advantage to any of the Jeffs out there tonight engineering for their race team or for individual drivers. If we've got strategy guys in charge and individual race engineers, or one guy trying to Jeff before people, let me know your race setup. It fascinates me, and I'd love to do some sort of public radio system as well one day. It'd be pretty awesome. So DRS enabled for the first time down this main straight on the end of lap 3, start of lap 4. Davey catching, Sparks managing to regain that gap on Yagazan now, and a pit stop from Ishiak as Talent Factory's driver heads down the field there, getting rid of his soft tyres after just 3 laps, so presumably a bit of damage, and the field opening up a little bit. In fact, the front runners almost starting to catch Marty down there. 49.5 seconds he's lost at this early stage of the race, so he'll be begging for a safety car in the next few laps before they catch him and ruin his race. As I said before, just waiting now for the drivers to maximize their strategy options, is to treat these first laps pretty carefully. Erpic, no such action, as he's now 1.8 seconds away from Yagazan in second, Sparks in third, Davey in fourth. So it's TF, NLR, TF, and then Haum, the first of the non-green race cars out there. A really good race start for NLR, who are very keen. I know they've been bolstering their roster recently, some big signings, and they are becoming a very, very serious team in the esports world. Here we go then, down the main straight for the first time. It looking threatening here with Sparks 1.5 tenths away from Yagazan, looking very aggressive, and Sparks probably at this early stage feeling held up. He's got good grip going through turn 4. This should help him down towards the Rolex hairpin, especially as Yagazan is derating. Sparks to the inside, Yagazan on the outside. Sparks with a nice move, but there's less grip on the outside exit of this one, as Yagazan knows his way around this circuit and holds off beautifully as they go there through the first challenge, and of course going backwards from Erpic's race car. Be interesting to see if Sparks gets by, what Erpic decides to do in response. It is tight racing, Lesty, apart from and in 2 main groups, but the leader is dominating. Erpic was missing in the last race, and Marlon did a fantastic job from 11th to 1st, but he's currently running 9th and not quite the same trip up the grid, although he's got a similar alternate strategy going on here, medium tyres. He'll be hoping to be quick at the end of the race as he was last week. Some weaving happening already on the main straight as Sparks lost out a little there to Yagazan, tempting the driver behind. But look, we've got a move for 5th place, Haum and Kart Racer. Kart Racer ends up letting his teammate Russell by, and it's going to let Pyro slip up the inside as well. Pyro, no! Pyro just spins, unfortunately, on this, his final race for his team. Down to 15th now. 2 of his teammates have got past, but back up near the front. Sparks is close, but he's got mirrors full of Davey as well. A vulnerable position for Sparks to be in here, sandwiched as he is between 2 slices of Talent Factory. Erpic now nearly 3 seconds away at the front of the field. So what can Sparks do? He's got the first impetus here, the first car with DRS in this long train from 1st to 7th, now that Pyro slipped back slightly. Sparks needs to get himself out of turn 14 a little bit cleaner than he did the last time out there. We'll ride with him to see what kind of slipstream he can generate as he goes tucked up underneath the rear wing, following Yagazan behind, who is derating again. Once again, Sparks is catching. He's got a good overspeed down the inside, and a nice DRS pass from Sparks. Can he hold it on the outside? Yes. And Sparks up to second place. So NLR in the top 2 positions from a double TF driver. Third and fourth. Helm close by behind as well. What kind of pace can Sparks unlock now that he is free of Yagazan's car? Of course, Yagazan will need to try and monster this lap. We know he hasn't got a huge amount of ERS to fight with here. So Sparks he could really do with his teammate dropping back to help him and condense the field slightly. Whether Erpek will receive or even respond to an instruction like that at this stage is another matter, of course. It might feel like Sparks needs to fight this battle on his own. Davey and Yagazan might swap positions at some stage if Davey's getting frustrated. It'll depend on the instruction from the race engineer. But the team results are everything here. Looks like Sparks has got half a second gap. Is it enough though? Down this long start-finish straight. Erpek not derating this time. Well, Yagazan not derating this time. Goes for a little late move in the mirrors, but doesn't quite have it. So 5/10 is slightly too far back. And we see there Russell making a nuisance of himself in the mirrors behind Helm. And Helm himself gaining on the back of the TF car ahead of him, but having to blend out of the throttle to avoid a warning. Look at Russell just scrubbing those tyres. He's not too interested in making them last a long time out there, is he? Going on the dirty side of the track before yanking their steering wheel back to the racing line. So it's Erpek on lap 8 from Sparks. 3.6 seconds the gap at the front. Sparks still half a second only ahead of Yagizan. Oh, a good move there up the inside, perhaps slightly helped by a mistake from Helm. Russell goes by in an unusual position on the racetrack, and his teammate is following by as well. By comes Kart Racer, and so Helm down 2 places in the space of a single sector. Whoa, massive, massive mini spin there from Marlon. Great opposite lock driving as he wrested the car under control. Helm has decided it's an indication, if he needed it, that his tyres have had enough. And Yagazan closes to win 2/10 at the end of the straight. But NLR, first, second, fifth and sixth have got a very strong position. However, their drivers all on the same strategy. So something goes wrong with a caution period and they're in trouble. Helm, as we said, has gone in the pits. Putting hard tyres on. He's taking a long time in the pits. Oh, I was getting worried there. He was leaving us. But Yagazan tries to outdrag Sparks through turn 6, now 7. Turn 8, Sparks is on the defensive here. And this is very tight here in the podium positions. Davey getting slightly too close to his teammate there and losing aero. Sparks is using the middle of the track here. He could really do with his teammate not being 4.3 seconds up the road. Of course, that won't favour Erpek if he ends up giving up a safety car manoeuvre. But they do want to maximise their strategic options here. Sparks weaves to the inside. I don't think this is going to be enough as Yagazan comes in the inside and Davey around the outside of both of them. Davey with a brilliant move there. Gets 2 drivers in one move. Double DRS manoeuvre. Must have used a bit of ERS as well. Looks like Yagazan's got turned round, trying to avoid his teammate though. So it worked in one sense for Talent Factory, but in quite another, Yagazan has tumbled down the order, down to 12th position now. Amazing stuff. But Davey up to second place. Sparks is tight up behind him in P3 now. No one got any penalties in the top 10, but yeah, NLR holding on. Davey with an amazing move around the outside of the 2 drivers fighting down the main straight, Sparks and Yagazan. Unfortunately though, Yagazan falling foul of that manoeuvre and unable to hang on to it. Luke Lira's going swimming. I'm not sure what going swimming means. You'll have to fill me in on that one. I'm not quite with it in that sense. What about Marlon though? Because that situation with Yagazan going off has split the front group. They were all together and now they are slightly apart. Russell has a bit of DRS on the back of his teammate, but they're now needing to treat their tyres carefully as Marlon, full of confidence after last week's amazing race, is now right in the mirrors of the 4th and 5th placed NLR drivers here. You love to see this close racing as the second group now is merging with the first group, who were they've fallen back a little bit, as you see with like a peloton in cycling. They've fallen back into the clutches. So first place is 3.8 seconds away. Sparks and Davey are about 4 seconds back from Erpik, and then a big group of drivers from Kart Racer backwards down to who are we looking at? Aziz even? Yeah. Down there in P11 currently. So a really great close battle, and we will see soon the first pit stops. Marlon gets past Russell. Good move. So Sparks is 6/10 back. Davies headed into the pits though. That's early. That's early from my estimations and what I usually see at this racetrack. I mean, the mediums will run and run, so if you have scrubbed your softs, it's no big deal. You're definitely in the window, in the pit stop window here for a soft medium strategy. The medium starters will run and run for longer. Helm put hard tyres on because he was just outside of that window comfortably. Mr. BT says Erpik is immense. He's certainly got a good go here. Was that Debo getting past Russell? They tangle wheels on the way up through the exit of turn 5, through turn 6. They'll go side by side, and full of confidence, Debo sweeps across the front. And up into P5 then. Russell looking backwards in his mirrors now towards Pedro. So Debo and Marlon, the medium tyres, absolutely working very well indeed. Who will pit at the front here? Whose tyres are in good condition? You've got to feel like Kart Racer needs to defend from Marlon and Debo, and one of the best ways of defending is to get into the pits if there's a good gap to come out to, and I think there is. I think there's a nice gap there where the drivers have exited. Sparks is heading in, as is Kart Racer, so that will open up Marlon and Debo to get past both of them. Erpik will hang on out, and he's got a big window to play with, so he can afford to be the last one to make the pit stop of the soft runners, at least. I'm sure he won't stay out there past the medium runners. And so Marlon driving very well here once again. We will see, of course, how all the pit stops work out. You've got the order has stayed Davey, Sparks, Kart Racer, Russell, then Pedro, Yagazan, Helm for the drivers who have pitted to schedule from the softs to the mediums. Erpik will wait, and of course will have used his tyres the least of anybody, given his having done no battling whatsoever. Marlon is 7.2 seconds away from Erpik, and that gap is not closing at this stage. And you would think at this point that Marlon has got a tyre advantage. Sieb is certainly active behind Damiano for 4th, 5th, and then 6th with Pure Aziz. And Erpik does pit, and he'll be looking for a nice gap of clean air to come out into. Behind, I would have thought, this Pure Aziz or Jabraka. No way by for Sieb on this occasion, and he's needing to defend here on the inside from Pure Aziz. So where does Erpik come out? He's out in front of Davey by a good stretch. You can see on the track map there. Kev gets by Davey. Is there any contact there? I'm not sure. Davey was nervous to battle with Kev. It looks like. Remember, Kev was at the back of the grid at the start of this one, and only 1.099 seconds away from the pole position time, as we'll join some of the other drivers near the front of the grid as things stand. Of course, the top 7 will all need to pit, as will 9th place Kev, but they'll be hoping for the field to spread out now, and also to get to at least lap 21 before any caution period. If it's before that point, then they may be forced into hard tyres or a medium soft strategy potentially. So really depends on how any caution period falls. So far so good though. 20 runners started. We have 20 runners with you on lap 15. Marlon, Debo, Damiano, Sieb, Purazige, Pedro and Jabraka started on the mediums and have yet to pit, and your net leaders currently Erpek, Davey, Sparks, Kev, not Kev, Kart Racer and Russell where it's at. Kev is battling again to try and get past Sparks. No, Sparks gets past Kev. I thought he was chasing Davey again, but Sparks gets by. So nice move. As looks like Harley is leaving us to go and race, so good luck, Harley. I hope you'll check in with us between quali and the race so you can see the result. We've got about, what, 17, 18 laps to go. So approaching that half distance point. Interestingly, 3rd down to 7th have all picked up penalties out there. So 6 seconds for Jabraka and Kev and Marty. And Kev trying to go around the outside of Sparks again. Similar tyres, but Kev's much older. So Kev with some good pace here to be battling with these front runners. And obviously enjoying those tyres right now. What else have we got going on? Jabraka closing in and passing Pedroa. So he's up now to 6th position. Purazige. Oh, round goes Sieb. Sieb spins on the way out of turn 5, but a gentle spin and recovering, only losing 1 position. Waiting to see a car. Can we see a car? There we go. Purazige. P4 is 7/10 back from Damiano. Your pitted drivers, Erpek, Davey, Sparks, Kart Racer, Russell, all now past Kev. So Kev slipping back now that his tyres are aging. But we might see some action shortly from Sparks and Kev and Kart Racer. Harley, concentrate on your race. Don't want to jinx your race. Put me on mute. You don't want me to say something that distracts you. Here comes Sparks then. He's got a good run here with DRS open as he closes on Davey. Davey gives him the inside. Will he get it done? He has to do it under braking, but Sparks gets back past Davey, who does an undercut and around, and Davey with a good strategy there. Nicely defended from Sparks. Good interplay between the two drivers. Obviously some mutual respect being shown, which we love to see at the Crown E League. Sparks almost snowplowed underneath Davey and braking for that hairpin. Sparks is looking impatient, and I get worried when Sparks is looking impatient, honestly, because I think a problem is not far away. Let's hope we can make a nice clean move. Debo just slipping out of DRS behind Marlon, who is managing the race now. I think managing that gap to the car behind. I say slipping out of DRS, but obviously Debo is catching at a rate that would suggest the opposite. Purazige rounding the first few corners as We've got Sparks with DRS. Will he get a better run on Davey this time? Yes, and in fact sort of outfoxes Davey through the corner. Stops on the apex and blocks a switchback this time. Much better. Sparks up to P9, but directly behind his net leader Erpek now, but 6.7 seconds he's lost to his teammate. And next up behind Davey is Kart Racer and Russell, who NLR looking to gang up here on the Talent Factory driver on his own. So we're reaching the next few laps, next 4 or 5 laps, when we will see the medium runners come in and put softs on to the end. Of course, everyone in the midfield at the moment here trying to manage their race distance on all their temperatures and manage any tyre slip, because it just exponentially increases the likelihood of running out of grip. Lucas says double QRT podium. Oh, finally we've got a QRT fan talking in the chat. Because I guess they were on the front for a moment as Marlon pits and puts those soft tyres on. That will help the midfield runners here, who were the race leaders at the early stint, get on by. And there they go past Marlon. Will he rejoin in front of Pedro for a net 6th place? Let's go see. Marlon will need to hold off Pedro here as he brings his tyres up to temperature. And Marlon, yes, in net 6th place at the moment, you have to say. Pure Aziz catching up ahead. Damiano once again. And now that the first of the medium starters has pitted, will that trigger everybody else to do the same? Lucas says QRT owner and fan, of course. Yeah, I'm sure. But Daniel is here for LFR and cheering his boys on. My apologies if anybody in the race does not identify as male. I haven't heard otherwise, so I have to make that assumption. But please let me know if you don't. So, Pure Aziz with DRS here should have a good overspeed to get past Damiano. There he goes. Another DRS pass then. This time, Pure Aziz up to 2nd place before the pit stops. Erpek is catching Pedroa and passing Pedroa. So he has got past one of those medium starters whose tyres are getting a little bit second-hand now. Jabraka ahead will be chasing down Sieb and will be a little bit of a distraction for Erpek. He doesn't need to go for any risky moves though. Alberto says, Vamos LFR carajo. Where were our Latin America flags when I asked for them earlier? I say this as someone who used to commentate on a very highly supported Argentinian driver, and we used to have live chats full of Argentinian flags, so that was always entertaining. I forget not everybody knows the right inputs to get the flags. So Erpek now chasing on, and in come those medium runners of Sieb and Jabraka. Damiano and Debo all in. Aziz has stayed out. Aziz needs to update his gamer tag, doesn't he? Has a wrong prefix on it. Well, Aziz will enjoy the lead of the race until he pits, so get a little bit of glory out there. Pedro for LFR, a 3-second time penalty, and once everybody has put their race tyres, their second stint tyres on, we will have a look at those penalties as they have accrued. You can see Kart Racer struggling in the wake of Davey. And at what point does a team instruction come for Kart Racer to push and pass, or give Russell a chance here? Because Sparks could do with his teammates making a move behind him on Davey. Erpek, though, now is 6.6 seconds ahead of Sparks. The big gap, as you can see on the track map, as he passes Lucas says we don't mind the old NRX because they were formerly a part of NRX. Well, fair enough. It would help a commentator if you can make sure you've got the right prefixes on it. That's all I'll say. Yeah, understandable. Pure Aziz then pits, and we are back to our expected race order now. Marlon, as he was in the previous race, looking to make up places on the alternate strategy, the medium soft strategy, whereas everyone in front of him has run the soft medium. He's gained places on those medium tyres and track position, so he is strong and waiting to pounce. This DRS train will not help Marlon's chances, though, to repeat the feat that he did last time out. And it'd be awesome to see Marlon versus Erpik, wouldn't it? Our two most dominant drivers of the last two races duke it out, but I think Erpik might have a big enough gap. Of course, the safety car could happen. We've got 11 laps to go in this race, and anyone who knows esports racing will know anything can happen. So it's always worth staying glued to the screen. Looks like Marlon is starting to get very active in the mirrors of Russell out there. And he will have DRS here, but so will Russell. They both derate on the way out of turn 15, so they're going to be pretty equal, come what may. Barely any overspeed at all here from Marlon. He can just hope to put pressure on Russell and either force a mistake or force him to drop back from the car in front. Enough, but that's not going to do it. Wow. Well held, sir, from Marlon. Good job on that hold, as he just had his aero taken away from the car in front. Alberto says thanks for pronouncing correctly. Well, I make an attempt. I do enjoy studying Spanish and Portuguese, but I can only make an attempt. So appreciate the compliment. And we're very glad to have Latam Formula Racing spice things up here in a very Eurocentric esports world that we have. Great to have our South American cousins with us. So your order then, from a team standpoint: NLR first, second, fourth and fifth. Talent Factory are third, 9th, 10th and 12th. We have QRT next up in 6th, 13th, 15th and 18th. Debo is the lead IRT team driver in 7th. His teammates 14th. Pyro in his final race 17th. And Marty in 19th. And finally LFR 8th, 11th, 16th and 20th. I couldn't possibly hope to give you live points from a team's perspective, but I will have to make sure we have our standings ready for you at the start of next week's stream, so do tune in. And I said we'll try and get this week's standings put in the comments of this video if you come back to it later in the week as well, if we can. Harley is still focusing on the stream and not his own race, so it's a good skill if you can hone it, Harley. But I've had too many drivers get distracted by a second screen in races that I've commentated over to believe you'll be able to hold it for much longer. Lap 24, there's only 9 to go, and here is a battle in the midfield that's no less tasty than up front. This group from 7th downwards are nearly 7 seconds back from the lead group, not counting Erpik, but they are all getting very close up front. We'll stay with this one though, because some drivers very close to one another. Pedro making a good go at it. Will he get the run, or will Damiano do what Davey did earlier and get two positions in one? The closer you are to the driver in front, the worse your tyre wear. The medium runners will have no cares about that though. Oh yeah, a very tight slowing Nicholas, I think, for LFR, causing a few problems there. The lap drivers really should work harder to get out of the way of everybody, as some slightly dodgy driving there going on between Debo and Pedro, as neither of them make the exit of the corner. No space given at all. A bit of a violent swing from Debo to the outside, from Pedro to the outside, but it didn't quite work out to action a pass. But it's getting very, very tasty there, and I hope for a cleaner move from one of them. Always great to have friends fueling the commentary in the chat. It's very much appreciated, so thanks Harley and everybody else. Do make sure you've liked the video today, as Damiano to the inside of all three, as Pedro and Damiano action a double pass here on Debo, who's going to emerge from turn 1, 2 and 3, and it had to happen. It had to happen. They made contact. It was Pedro and Debo clashing there, and this could trigger quite a few moves. Lots of people scrabbling to get back on terms with the race positions, but a yellow flag is all we've got. It's one of the QRT drivers on the outside there of turn 13, but is coming back towards the racetrack and gaining back his race momentum. So thankfully we avoid a safety car, but a big thing happened there with into the turn 1 and 2 after some slightly dodgy defense going on into turn 5 the previous lap. So I say it had to happen as they tried to go 3 wide through turn 1. One person was going to succeed and 2 were going to fail, and unfortunately that was Debo and Pedro suffering there on the way through. Up at the front, we still being hounded down on soft tyres as his advantage diminishes. Comes Marlon. It's difficult now for him to gain a huge advantage as his tyres start to wear the same as the guys in front. Davey close behind Sparks, Kart Racer behind him, Russell behind him, and we have a DRS train on our hands. Sparks on the defensive once again, needs his teammate Kart Racer to get closer to Davey, or needs Erpic to come back to him and give him a hand. Could end up with Davey getting that second place here as we go into the last few laps of our penultimate race in the championship. As far as I know, I don't think anyone can win the championship outright today. I think it will definitely go down to the wire for the win, but of course all the rest of the placings are just as important for anybody fighting. Marlon closing now. He's the closest one to a driver in front of this group of very quick and very clean drivers out there tonight. As far as penalties are concerned, let's have a quick look at penalties just to remind ourselves. So the penalties just climbing through the order, which should help us with the final order, final standings. Ishiak and Debo and Nicholas driving without penalties so far, which is great to see. And in terms of positional change, as the drivers just prepare for those final lap moves, we have Marlon up 6, Damiano up 7, as has Sieb now making 8 as he gets by Helm, and Pedro up 7. So some really good race climbs. Kart Racer, Marlon 6 places up, 1 each for Sparks, Davey, Erpic dominating. So he is where he started, but where he started was on top. And yeah, struggling here for LFR really, I think overall. Siebenhelm fighting down the order as they go into the quick section now. Sieb on top at this stage. So NLR with a massive points advantage over everybody else for this race. Point awarding anyway. They clearly missed Erpic last week, but the rest of the team are trying their best to match Erpic's speed and contribute to some good results out there. It's not over though, with 4 to go as they cross the line for the 29th time. Marlon closing, but not close enough with this DRS train we've got in action. Sparks is just doing enough to hold off a move from Davey. What can Kart Racer and Russell do here? And can Erpic manage to focus to the end of this race all on his own? Oh, Pyro has retired from the session. What a shame for his last race for the team. I'm sure he was hoping for a much better result. And unfortunately, Pyro, our only retiree here on lap 29, is an astonishing thing. Not only to have a stable enough lobby for 20 drivers to keep running, but also for the drivers themselves to all keep going. We've got a little bit of field spread out there, but in the tail of the field, but Pyro has retired, unfortunately, and will play no further part for this race or for IR team. I believe he's transferring to CPI. I don't know if that rumour is true or not, but that's what I've heard. And we say goodbye to Pyro then. So Sparks with what, a 5/10 gap, which is usually enough. Marlon is too far back really to have a go here, as is Kart Racer and Russell. They just can't get on terms with Davey and Sparks just yet, but 3 laps to go. And it's all still to play for the podium. And the big points on offer tonight. Points for every finisher here, and also for fastest lap as usual, and for pole position. So I'll just check in with the fastest lap. He says, kind of expecting it to be Erpic. No, it's Ishiak for Talent Factory with the fastest lap so far. Erpic, I'm sure, will want to right that wrong and scoop up every point on offer. Let's see what he can do towards the end of this. Remember, Marlon, the only driver in this group that we watch on the soft tyres. Sparks just eking out that gap to what it needs to be to defend from a move from Davey. Nobody forcing an error yet. So drivers' concentration is at elite levels to maintain this discipline. It's really tricky out there. I could never do it. Hey, Harley gets a pole in his race. Excellent stuff. Obviously, the NLR fortune is on tonight. I hope the NLR team are playing the lottery this week, and they'll buy me a ticket as well with their numbers, because it looks like their luck is in, if you believe in luck, that is. I find that the more winning people do, the less they believe in luck, but there you go. So these medium tyres will run and run. Marlon, I think his softs have run out. I think he's starting to drift back now from this group, and only just about struggle to stay on terms with them. He'll be there to capitalise on any errors, but with no penalties in the lead group, and medium tyres that run and run and run around Portimao, I think the sting might well have gone out of Marlon's attack. So Erpic 6.6 seconds now ahead of Sparks as we start our penultimate lap here. Davey, Kart Racer, Russell, Marlon, Damiano, Jagazan, Siebenhaum. Siebenhaum will continue battling, I think, as will potentially for 15th place Aziz and Pedro, as Pedro gets by just as I say it. Jabraka and Haum very close as well. Let's go and see how that one works out as a move is happening. Will it be a double move? Lots of manoeuvring going on, and very, very tight racing. Looks like Jabraka got by Haum safely though. Good result, and managed to just about avoid Siebel, though he loses the car slightly under acceleration out of turn 5. Freeland says he has done the lotto. Excellent, excellent stuff. Well, I do expect a little cut. Lesty there in Boston is talking up NLR, but hasn't cursed anything. No one's cursing anything, but this is pretty cool. Erpic 6.5 seconds now, still ahead. Haum gets by Jabraka, and they swap places yet again in the tail of the field. This could be the last opportunity to make a move here, as Kart Racer is closing on Davey. Davey is derating. Kart Racer to the inside. Can they survive turn 1? Oh, Kart Racer! Oh no, smashed by his teammate, and a double DNF for NLR. Incredible stuff. That was triggered by a move from kart racer on Davey. Davey held him off. Marlon probably not close enough, but it all happened there in turn 1 and 2 for NLR. They were doing so well, and a double DNF. They could well still get a 1-2 out of this race. Davey is closing now on this final lap. Marlon is too far away to make anything happen. And we waited and waited for something to happen, and it ended up with two teammates colliding. I don't think Russell could have avoided kart racer, who was trying to regain the car after losing it in battle with Davey. Davey, though, he wants to ruin NLR's party all over the shop by going for Sparks now, and that second place. We'll see who can finish this race off clean enough. It's Erpic, though. Erpic wins in Portimao. Brilliant stuff yet again from Erpic. Sparks trying to hold on, and does hold on to take second place from Davey. Marlon will come home in fourth place. Talent Factory with third, fifth and sixth here. Damiano and Yagizan. I think Sieb will cross the line and be far enough ahead of Jabraka, but will Helm get them both? I think he might. Helm just gets Jabraka. So Sieb, Helm and Jabraka, then Pedroa, and we're waiting for Ishiak, who I think is so far back that he won't gain any places. He does gain one, so Debo coming round to finish this race out. Absolute drama at the end of this race. I cannot believe what I've just seen, as NLR lose a 1-2-4-5, and it's just a 1-2. A 1-2 would be very welcome from anybody's state from starting the race. I think they might get a classified finish because they had lapped Nicholas and Kev, and they cross the line then and do an interesting park job at the end of the race. Wow, what a finish, what a finish. That's going to be clip worthy. Sieb gets driver of the day, so congrats to Sieb. He followed me on Twitter today, so maybe that's a portent. Follow at WebORed5 on Twitter and you get driver of the day. Closing in on 70 comments on the live chat, which is brilliant to see. Erpek lifts the trophy. He's not wearing the right overalls at all. The only thing he's done wrong today. And sprays the champagne from Sparks. Great performance for the NLR team at the front there. Heartbreak for the two other members of the team, but Davey racing well as well. So, breathless stuff to finish this race. Erpic and Sparks, NLR 1-2, getting a great bag of points for the team. Not quite as many as they were thought on the penultimate lap. So, Talent Factory's Davey gets the third place. Fastest lap went with Ishiak, his teammate, and his other two teammates, fifth and sixth. So, some good points for Talent Factory, no less. Marlon for QRT in P4 did a great job there. I'm going to select race director to try and buy myself a bit more time. Where were we? Marlon, Damiano, Yagazan, Sieb, Helm, Jabraka, Ishiak, Pedra, Debo, Pedro, Pure Aziz, Marty, Russell and kart racer classified but didn't finish. I'm not quite sure how the rules will work on that one. Nicholas, Kev, and Pyro wrapping up your top evening of racing here. It's all going to go down to the final. I hope you've subscribed to the channel, or at least followed some of us on Twitter tonight, because you won't want to miss the final of the Crown E League tournament style esports challenge. Some fantastic driving. 10 teams started this challenge, and one will be crowned literally the winner of it all. Brilliant stuff, and I hope that you've enjoyed the racing tonight. I've been Webbo. This has been the Crown E Racing League penultimate race of the championship. Join us next week. Until next time, I will catch you all on the next race day.